On today's episode, we soak our weary pilgrim feet in the legendary lavanderia of a mysterious medieval king. For real. Then, things get heated. Not in the water, but in the kitchen. We dive headfirst into one of Spain's most beloved, yet controversial dishes. The tortilla de patatas. Right? I couldn't believe it either. Lastly, we attempt to make our own tortilla from scratch. Such simple ingredients, such complex opinions. Ah, España. All this and more on today's episode, Day 9, as we leave Barra and continue our journey toward the town of Valga. Anyone know how to turn this thing off? Morning quietly arrived, though the night before had been anything but quiet. The albergue was packed and the snoring brigade performed with great enthusiasm. Still, I was up before the sun, around 5. Not exactly refreshed, but ready enough to get moving. Today would be a long one, over 22 miles of road ahead. I showered, then sat down with a bowl of overnight oats I had prepared the night before. Is that redundant? Being the first one awake in an albergue is a strange kind of magic. Silence returns, the creaking floors, the soft morning light, even the walls seem to reveal little details you never noticed during the bustle of the day. By sunrise, Ricky and Erica were stirring, packs zipped, shoes laced, and before long we were stepping out into the cool morning air. Day 9 had begun. Now, lack of sleep and a not-so-steady diet of tortilla can make a pilgrim a bit grumpy.
And you were snoring all night.
You were!
Oh!
Thankfully, on the Camino, at least some of the signs are easy to understand.
Getting sucks.
Is it the same? Oh, sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Just be you. It's day 8, and yeah, just moving slow now. I don't know why, but I'm moving slow. And catching less, but moving slower. And that's the day so far. We're getting closer and closer to Santiago, and I don't know how I feel about this. I'm going to arrive way too early, and it's fine. It's fine. I'll figure it out.
But before I had a chance to figure anything out, we were in Caldas de Reis. If you've been walking for days like us, your feet know exactly when you arrive in Caldas de Reis. They sigh with relief, because this small Galician town has been soothing tired travelers for nearly 2,000 years. Like many villages along the Camino routes, the name tells the story. Caldas comes from the Latin word for hot waters. De Reis is Galician for the king. Altogether, the meaning becomes clear: the royal hot waters. The Romans were actually the first to turn this place into a spa town. They discovered natural thermal springs bubbling up from the ground about 40 degrees Celsius. Warm, mineral-rich, and perfect for aching muscles. And as you know, the Romans loved a good bathhouse. Upon discovery, they immediately built thermal complexes here along Via 19, the Roman road that once connected Braga in Portugal to Astorga in España. As I have covered in previous episodes, pilgrims today walk a route that echoes the very same ancient path. Fast forward a few centuries and Caldas del Reis becomes an important stop on the Camino Portugués. Turns out medieval pilgrims were just as grateful for hot water as we are today. After days of dusty roads, sore feet, and tired legs, these springs were pure luxury. And the springs are still here. Right in the center of town, you will find the Fonte das Burgas. These stone fountains constantly pour steaming water from underground. The temperature holds steady around 40 degrees. You will often see pilgrims sitting around the edge, shoes off, feet soaking in the warm runoff channels. You'll also find pilgrims sitting around the ancient lavadero, where the women of the village once washed clothes. It's the closest thing to a free Camino foot spa, trust me. But if you want to go full Roman, or what I like to call executive pilgrim, there are also thermal spas in town. Places like Balneario Acuna and Balneario de Villa have been welcoming bathers since the 1800s. Imagine stepping into a mineral bath while your muscles slowly forgive you for the last 10 days. But Caldas del Reis is more than just hot water. The town sits right where two rivers meet. The Amur River runs right through the center, crossed by a graceful medieval stone bridge. Pilgrims still pass over to this very day. The surrounding park, La Caballera, are filled with towering oaks that give the area a calm, shaded atmosphere. It feels like a natural rest stop, and that's exactly where we did take a rest, and had some lunch. That said, this is also Galicia, so food matters. And if you still have the energy after a good soak, look for local specialties like empanada gallega, pulpo a la gallega, or fresh tortilla de patatas, served in small cafes around the plaza. After a long day of walking, even the simplest meal can feel like a feast. And here's also a little detail that most pilgrims miss. Caldas del Reis was once the birthplace of Alfonso VII, a medieval king who ruled Leon and Castile in the 12th century. Not bad for a town that feels almost like a peaceful thermal retreat. So, whether you are here for the history, the Roman springs, or simply a moment to soak your weary feet and watch the river go by, Caldas del Reis delivers exactly what the pilgrim needs. Warm water, good food, and a chance to rest before that final push towards Santiago. Your feet will thank you. After a soak in the lavandero and a quick snack, we reluctantly left town and slipped back into the woods. The trail quieted again, just boots on gravel and the steady rhythm of walking. But not for long. Soon we stumbled right back into Spanish culture. The sound gave it away at first. Bagpipes and drums drifting through the trees. Music like that usually means two things on the Camino: civilization and tortilla. And tortilla I did find. What we also found was a restaurant called The Oasis. Unfortunately, the experience was a little less refreshing than the name suggested. When the bill came, I noticed I had been shortchanged. Whether it was intentional or not, I honestly can't say, but when Ricky politely pointed it out, the owner became surprisingly defensive. No apology, just a shrug and a correction. So consider this a friendly pilgrim warning from one pilgrim to another. The Oasis, sadly, was anything but.
Cafe Bar Oasis. Vinos y tapas. This guy tried to shortchange me.
So, what is it about tortilla that makes a man unknowingly overpay for it? Probably time and time again. Before we cut into that next slice, let's take a quick look at where Spain's most famous tortilla actually came from. Walk into almost any bar in Spain, and you will see it. Not plated like fine dining, not decorated or fussed over, just a thick golden round sitting quietly in the corner, cut into wedges like a cake. If you're wondering what I've been poetically waxing on, this is the tortilla de patatas, Spain's most famous potato omelet. It's eaten for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and sometimes again late at night. You'll find it everywhere, from small fishing villages in Galicia to crowded plazas in Andalusia. And yet for such a simple dish, its history is surprisingly mysterious. At its core, the tortilla de patatas could not be more straightforward. Eggs, potatoes, olive oil, and a dash of salt. Some cooks add onion, others consider that a culinary offense of the highest order. But the story of this humble dish actually begins far from Spain. Long before it appeared in Iberian kitchens, the potato was thriving in the Andes Mountains of South America. For thousands of years, the Inca civilization cultivated hundreds of varieties in what is now Peru and Bolivia. Potatoes were so important to Andean life that they even developed methods for drying them into a preserved form called chuño. When the Spanish explorers had arrived in the 16th century, they encountered this strange underground crop and eventually carried it back across the Atlantic. By the 1570s, the potato had arrived in Spain. Europe, however, did not trust it at first. First off, the potato grew underground. Sus. Second, it was not mentioned in the Bible at all. More sus. Third, some people believed it caused disease. And others still thought it was better suited for botanical gardens than dinner tables. But hunger always has a way of changing opinions, no? By the 18th century, potatoes had begun spreading across Spain, especially in regions like Galicia, where the damp climate favored the crop. What had once been a curiosity became a dependable source of food for ordinary people. Meanwhile, Spain already had a long tradition with cooking eggs. Flat omelets cooked in olive oil were common in Iberian kitchens, and the word tortilla itself simply means little cake, derived from the Spanish word torta. These early tortillas included vegetables, herbs, and cheese depending on what was available. I mean, the omelet already existed. The potato simply just joined the party. When that happened, something remarkable emerged. A dish that was cheap, filling, portable, and genuinely delicious. Perfect for farmers, travelers, and anyone trying to stretch a small meal. Exactly when the tortilla de patatas appeared is still debated. One of the most famous stories comes from the First Carlist War of the 1830s. According to legend, the Carlist general Tomás de Zumalacárregui was campaigning through the countryside of Navarra when he stopped at a farmhouse, hungry and exhausted. The woman of the house had very little to offer, a few eggs, some potatoes, and some olive oil, maybe even some onion. So she improvised. She fried the potatoes, beat the eggs, mixed everything together, and cooked the mixture into a thick, round cake. The general loved it. The story goes on to say he encouraged his soldiers to adopt the dish because it was cheap, filling, and easy to prepare during war. From there, the tortilla supposedly spread all across Spain. It's a wonderful story. Historians, however, can't prove it. A more convincing clue comes from an archival document in Navarra dated around 1817. The report describes rural families cooking omelets with eggs and potatoes in a way to feed themselves during times of poverty. In other words, the tortilla may have simply been born out of necessity. With easy-growing potatoes in the soil and chickens in the yard, a hungry family could now stretch what little they had. Extremadura also claims the invention of the tortilla, pointing to its strong historical ties to the Americas. Many of Spain's conquistadors, including Hernán Cortés and Francisco Pizarro, came from Extremadura, which may have given the region early access to potatoes. So who invented the tortilla? Navarra says it was them, Extremadura says otherwise. The rest of Spain, and myself included, simply keep eating it. Hard to argue with a mouthful of awesome. But if the origin debate is lively, it's nothing compared to the great tortilla argument that still divides Spain to this day. The onion debate. Should a tortilla contain onion or not? Should another evil underground vegetable even be considered? Con cebolla or sin cebolla? Who are these people? Sin tortilla no hay camino. The con cebolla camp believes onion adds sweetness and depth as it slowly caramelizes alongside the potatoes. And then there's the sin cebolla camp, which argues that the onion interferes with the pure flavor of egg and potato. Polls have even been conducted on the subject. Roughly 75% of Spaniards prefer their tortilla with onion. The rest remain firmly opposed. Neither side has any intention of surrendering either. And then there is another debate still, one that food lovers find even more interesting. Should the tortilla be cuajada or jugosa? A cuajada tortilla is fully set, firm all the way through. This is the version you most often see sitting proudly on bar counters across Spain. It slices cleanly, holds together easily, and can sit for hours without losing its shape or going bad. A jugosa tortilla, however, is something entirely different. Jugosa means juicy. In this version, the tortilla is cooked just long enough to set outside while the inside remains soft, creamy, and sometimes liquid. Pulled off correctly, and some say the texture is luxurious. But get it wrong, and you have sad, runny scrambled eggs. Or something worse. The jugosa style has become fashionable in modern Spanish restaurants where chefs treat the tortilla as something worthy of serious culinary attention. But the cuajada version remains the dependable classic. Amen. And so, the debate continues. Onion or no onion, Navarra or Extremadura, firm or juicy. Yuck. Yet through all the arguments, the tortilla de patatas has remained what it has always been. A dish born from poverty. Potatoes were the food of the poor across Europe. Eggs came from your backyard. Olive oil was the everyday cooking fat of the Mediterranean. Combine these three ingredients and you have something filling, calorie-dense, nourishing, and surprisingly wonderful. It's a pattern seen throughout food history. French cassoulet, Italian pasta, American fried chicken, even Nutella. Some of the world's most beloved dishes began as survival food. Today, the tortilla de patatas is everywhere. It anchors tapas menus in Madrid, it appears in pinchos bars in San Sebastian, it sits on cafe counters in Sevilla, Barcelona, in small towns across the country, and even the world. Families still pass down their own tortilla techniques from one generation to the next. Children still grow up learning the most important part of the process, the flip. And somewhere, right now in Spain, another tortilla is being born. Buen provecho. After that, who wants to make some tortilla? Tortilla de patatas is one of Spain's great comfort foods. Heck, I'd argue it's not a Camino without it. Simple ingredients, big flavor. You see it everywhere along the way. Bars cut into thick wedges for breakfast, lunch, quick Pilgrim snacks, whatever. It's always served, almost, until it's gone. In short, sin tortilla no hay camino. But you already knew that. Today I'll be making a personal-sized tortilla. Personal in quotes because I'm using an 8-inch pan that will easily feed 2 to 3 people. We'll start with 3 medium potatoes. That gives you roughly 2 cups once sliced. Peel them if you like, or leave the skin on like I do. More nutrition, less work. Slice them thin, about 1/8 of an inch thick. You can also cut them into small half moons. The point is, thin slices cook evenly and give the tortilla that soft, creamy texture that makes it so good. Next comes the onion. This is optional, and has sparked many debates across Spain. And let it be known, I am firmly on Team Onion. Go onion. Today I'll use a small red onion because I like the flavor, but any onion will work. Heat about 1/3 cup of olive oil in the skillet over medium heat, and then add the potatoes and onion. You want the oil gently bubbling, not aggressively frying. This is more of a slow cook than a deep fry. Allow them to cook for about 15 to 20 minutes, stirring occasionally. I like to stir maybe every 3 minutes, just to make sure. The potatoes should become soft and tender, not crispy. You may see a little browning in places. That's perfect. Once they are ready, pour everything into a strainer and let the oil drip back into the pan. You don't want to waste that oil. We're going to use it again in a minute. Now, in the bowl that you've transferred the potatoes and onions to, add 3 eggs and a pinch of salt. Pepper's optional. I prefer pepper. I prefer a lot of pepper. Gently mix everything together and let it stand for about 5 minutes.
5 minutes, counting down.
This gives the potatoes time to absorb some of that egg and bring the flavors all together. Now, we cook the tortilla. Now once again start heating up the oil in that pan. If you need to add a little bit more, there should be roughly about 2 tablespoons in there. If you need to add a little bit more, by all means do so at this point. We do not want the tortilla to stick. In fact, make sure the oil evenly coats the bottom and the sides of the pan. I can't stress that enough. Now pour in the potato and egg mixture, spreading it evenly. Cook it for about 5 minutes until the bottom begins to set.
5 minutes, counting down.
I personally cook mine for 5 minutes at a medium to high heat, leaning more into the high heat because I like my eggs fully cooked and a little brown. Some people prefer it a little softer in the middle, and that part is completely up to you. Now comes the moment that scares people. The flip. You got this. Place a large plate or a pot lid over the skillet. Now, take a deep breath, and in one motion, carefully flip that tortilla onto the plate. It's a fluid motion. Then, with care, slide it back into the pan to cook the other side for about another 3 to 4 minutes. If a few potatoes escape during this flip, do not panic, everything's fine. Just tuck them back in underneath before everything finishes setting. Once it's done, let the tortilla sit for about 5 minutes before slicing. It can be served warm or at room temperature. If you watch my channel, you already know not only am I a tortilla freak, I'm a hot sauce freak. And I still happen to have some sauce I grabbed on my last Camino. And it goes so well with tortilla. One bite and I'm right back on the Camino. Buen provecho y buen camino. Sin tortilla no hay camino. And while you were cleverly being Trojan horsed into watching a documentary I made about tortilla, we arrived at our albergue for the night here in Valga. Tonight's stop is Albergue de Peregrinos de Opino, a modern municipal albergue. Clean, simple, and designed with the pilgrim in mind. Inside you will find bright communal spaces, plenty of tables to rest your feet and compare blisters, a functional kitchen area, and classic dorm rooms filled with sturdy bunk beds. Nothing fancy, but exactly what a pilgrim needs after a long day on the trail. A hot shower, oh boy, a place to wash your clothes, and a comfortable spot to rest those hard-working feet. These municipal albergues are one of the quiet blessings of the Camino. Affordable, practical, and full of fellow travelers with stories from every corner of the world. After dinner, laundry, and a little time with the CaminoTellers swapping stories from the trail, it was finally time to cash in for the night. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until our next episode, where I head to Padron. Buen Camino.
Oh, shall touch her, walk beside me. Oh, shall touch her, down the old stone way. Side by side through starry nights and laughter, we'll sing, we'll laugh, we'll la 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 all day. Oh, shall touch her, la 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 all day.
Shall touch her.